What's up, guys? So I got a request to do a video about if someone has limited coaching, how they can get good. And this is a hard one. This is a hard one. And the question, the way the guy asked it, if I remember correctly, was he lives in a small town basically, and how he could get good if there's only, he only has the one coach, or there's not other options. It's basically, I believe it's basically just a jiu-jitsu with a little bit of Muay Thai gym. There's no real boxing. There's no wrestling. There's no real MMA. And it's going to be hard. It's going to be very hard. I really don't know how to answer that honestly, as far as I would say you need to get some good instruction. So you may have to go a couple places and learn several different techniques, and to make sure that your technique is perfect. One really good option for striking, I would say, is you have to learn how to shadow box. And hit bags, obviously. But shadow boxing is so important, and people really don't take it serious. A lot of people don't take it serious. I know that. A lot of fighters don't. Even ones that fight at a high level, maybe they've been training for a long time. Maybe they're very athletic or whatever, so they don't take it super serious as they should. Shadow boxing is one that you can do on your own constantly. I mean, you're as good if you really know how to shadow box. You can get as much work shadow boxing 10 rounds as you can hitting 10 rounds on the heavy bag. So but the technique is important though. You need to make sure the technique is perfect. So I would say, if you have limited training in your area, go somewhere, a few times, and maybe go to a gym in a neighboring town and introduce yourself. Go there for off and on as much as you can for a couple months. Maybe you can go once a week for 2 months. That's still once a week for 2 months would be 8 classes. Or maybe save up your money and get a private lesson get a few private lessons from a really good boxing coach, or someone in your area, or someone close by you could drive to from your small town, and have them make sure that you really got the technique down as good as they can teach you, and start with that. Shadow boxing would be my best option. If you are in a small town with limited training partners, limited coaching, you have to learn how to shadow box. Shadow boxing is extremely important, and it's really important for when you're punching and when you miss. Because if you think about it, when you're hitting a heavy bag, you're never missing. It's good to develop power. It's good for conditioning, but you're never missing. And when you fight someone, you're always missing. I mean, the average MMA fighter probably lands less than 30% of his strikes. So if you're only hitting one out of every 3 strikes, the other 2 you're missing, you need to make sure you can bring your hand back to your face. You can recover, your feet are in right position. And shadow boxing will fix that more than anything. And I will say that for grappling, it's going to be hard. Without a partner, it's going to be hard. Grappling dummies could help somewhat. I would say possibly get a grappling dummy, maybe a couple of them. Now, keep in mind, all this costs money. It costs money to buy grappling dummies, especially the good ones. And if you know the technique already, like I know so much technique from years of martial arts, I can go on a grappling dummy and just drill for an hour. And I did this when I was in the UFC. I had a shoulder surgery and I got injured, and I drilled on a grappling dummy for about 3 months, probably an hour and a half a day, like 5 days a week. And I got thousands of reps on about 5 different moves. I did the same 5 moves for 3 months, and I got thousands of reps on them from a grappling dummy. So if you're limited in a training partner for grappling, a grappling dummy is probably your best option. Now, that's only going to help in jiu-jitsu for the most part. Unless you can afford, like they have the wall bags like college wrestling rooms called Atom, and it's basically a dummy connected to the wall where you can practice doing double legs, single legs, takedowns, front headlocks. You can do all this different stuff. I believe that's called Atom is what they call it. And then, of course, you have, regular jiu-jitsu grappling dummies as well. That's your best option. So I would say if you're limited training and you have limited training partners, and you are living in a small town or whatever your situation is, if you're trying to get good at striking, you need to learn how to box, and you need to learn how to shadow box. I do not recommend learning how to kick on your own by watching YouTube. I don't recommend learning how to do any of this on your own by YouTube. You need to go somewhere, get the technique down, And that could take you, 10, 15 classes. You may have to go for 3 months to a place, and you may be driving an hour one way. But once you learn the technique and you're good at the technique and it's approved, like the coach says, hey, you're pretty good at this technique, then you can drill it on your own. And then how good you can get can be limitless. You can get, if you're just willing to do the reps. So I would say go somewhere, learn how to shadow box, and make that a priority as your striking practice on your own. And heavy bag, of course. And then I would say for jiu-jitsu, you need to use a grappling dummy. A grappling dummy, there's a bunch of them out there. I don't even know the names of all of them. I had one called a Bubba grappling dummy. I had one called Submission Master grappling dummy. And I made a video actually about that too, of why a lot of MMA fighters should use a grappling dummy, because it really is good in the amount of reps you can get. But once again, it's only going to be more jiu-jitsu than actual wrestling. It's going to be on the ground already, and you're only going to be drilling offense and not really defense. But it's definitely beneficial if you're limited on your schedule, your training partners, and the location you're at. That's my best advice, guys. So I hope that answers the question. If you got any other questions and want me to make a video, just leave a comment below and I'll get back to you when I can. And if you're new to martial arts and you're looking for a gym in your area, get my book, The Ultimate Guide to Choosing a Martial Arts School and Instructor. The link is in the description below. Thank you, guys.